What you streaming?
Hey y'all!
Hey everybody!
Welcome to the What You Streamin' podcast. I'm Allie.
This is Katie.
And we are your hosts of this fantastic little podcast called What You Streamin'. What's going on? I'm Allie.
And this is Katie.
And we are the hosts of
What You Streamin'?
Woo! Bum, ba-dum, bow.
Welcome. Hey y'all.
And on today's episode, we are talking about the wonderful South Korean TV series Cinderella and the Four Knights. The Four Knights is available on Viki, Tubi, and Netflix. Highly recommend everyone check it out on those platforms. The TV series was directed... I'm going to butcher, by the way, all of these names because I do not speak Korean. I like to think that I do because I watch so many K-dramas. But I most definitely do not, and if there's one thing I'm good at, it's butchering the names of people.
Oof.
Yes, so bear with me.
She done opened a butcher shop.
Yes. So, Cinderella and the Four Knights is directed by Kwon Hook-chan. Okay.
Good effort.
And Lee Min-woo. Yep. All right.
Okay.
Stars Park Sodam. Sodam. Should I just stop now? All right, I will. There's a show. It's called Cinderella and the Four Knights. It was directed by some folks, and it also stars some folks.
People in there.
Yes, I'm gonna just not try to pronounce the names from here on out. It originally aired August through October of 2016 and is only 16 episodes long, which...
But it was perfect, though.
So thankful for that it was only 16 episodes.
Yeah, because they get a little wild sometimes. You're like, what you talking about?
And the official, I guess, synopsis of Cinderella and the Four Knights is... Is it Eun Ha?
I think it's Eun Ha Won.
Eun Ha Won.
So Ha Won is her technical first name. Her given name is, or her surname is Yoon.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so she's a high school senior, and she wants to go to college, but
That's all that girl wants to do is go to college, y'all.
Wants to go to school. And unfortunately, her mother passes away, and her dad remarries. And per the usual, when it comes to Cinderella, he marries an evil woman.
I mean, her and there's only one stepsister. Thank God, I wouldn't be able to handle more than one of them. The two of them together are just woof. I don't know if I'd call them evil. I would call them the worst, though, because they're just real selfish and dumb. It's hard because I don't want to say they were malicious, because I have seen truly malicious people. So I don't know if I want to say that, but they're the worst. I mean, they're pretty much garbage people. I wouldn't.
Yeah. Very selfish.
Yeah, I mean, they wouldn't have to die, I don't guess.
They're just bad.
They're
folks.
the worst.
They're just bad,
They're the
selfish
worst.
people.
Yeah.
Especially the stepdaughter. She's living that, wants to live that online creator lifestyle. Influencer lifestyle, yes. And they end up stealing Hwan's college tuition and using it for themselves, I believe. And then throughout the main character's journey, she I guess right away, actually, in episode 1, she runs into this old man Kang. Did I say his last name? Is that right? Kang?
Oh, Kang Ji Woon. Is that who you're talking about?
Old man Kang. And he convinces her to move into this house with him. And some 3 hot dudes.
Wow.
Also in this house.
Okay,
That's the official synopsis. All right.
Okay. All right. Okay.
So that's how
Kang.
That's how the internet breaks down what the show's about.
Oh no, we'll get into this because
this is how Katie breaks down the show.
That's so far from okay. Look, if you ever made the mistake of being like, "What's that thing about?" and I just sat there for the next hour and 45 minutes, you know where this comes from. All right, now this was a show that I started watching. This is one of those instances where I'm watching a thing, Allie comes in, she's like, what the F is this? And I start explaining it to her. And she came in, we figured out around middle or toward the end of the first episode.
Yeah.
It's a longish episode though, and a lot of shit goes down. So I was watching that, she comes in. Now this is not something she would have normally picked.
Absolutely not.
It called to me. So when you look it up on like Wikipedia and stuff, it says it's similar to Boys Over Flowers, which is another show based on a graphic novel or something like that. And it's your classic regular girl gets entangled with wealthy boys and somehow manages to, live a happily ever after life. But what gets me is I'm always down for a reverse harem. Like, throw that shit at me, sis. So, I saw this. It was very colorful. The imagery they used because where I saw it was on Netflix. And I was just like, we hadn't finished Strong Woman Do Bong Soon, but I had been watching that recently, and I love that. And this looked like it kind of had a similar vibe in that it had its serious moments, but it was also, like, fun and quirky, and I was like, cool, I'm down. And so that's why I got into that, because I was like, okay, I'm going to watch this. At least one episode. And so that's when you actually came in. It was before I even finished the first episode, and we were like, all right, we're watching this shit.
And she pauses it. And literally, almost, I feel like minute by minute, gives me a rundown of what happened in that first episode.
It was so much that like you had to know, because she met all of the main characters. You as an individual met almost all of the supporting characters. And we'll just do a real quick, like, who's who and what's going on kind of thing. Because you literally do meet all these people in the very first episode. And it is a lot of information. And trying to figure out what is going on is like, whoa. So, as Allie mentioned, you got Ha Won, who is just a boo trying to go to college. Because, mom died when she was young. And that's just, she really wants to make her mom proud. And a lot of the show is just this really beautiful, deep connection with her and her mother, who she remembers and visits in, like, it's this beautiful, like, building that they have for people's urns, and you can have, like, a little altar type thing there, in their own little, like, cubby, and you do it. So she goes in, and that's her, which you find out much later on is also related to one of the boys, but
sad boy,
but we won't go there just yet. But so anyway, so she is running around doing her thing. She wants to go to college, but she's got a dad who works on the road. He's a truck driver. He's never home, and kind of blows her off a lot. Like, you don't really know what's going on until like the second episode, which really you're like, these people are awful. Her dad is such a turd to her. And then you have the stepmom and the stepsister, and all they care about is themselves, and they make her sleep on the, like, porch or whatever, the balcony, and they made her sleep on the balcony. Like, is classic Cinderella. Like, they are terrible to her, and she's just like, I just want to go to college. Like, that's all I want to do. So she has been trying to make sure she's getting good grades on her tests and that she's going to get accepted, and she's been working, and she has like 10 part-time jobs, and she's just like, she's gone through it now. She's just trying to do what she got to do so she can do her thing. And you just have all of these people just getting in her way or just being the worst, and she's taking no shit. She's chill, except for when she's really upset. But, like, for the most part, like, that's one of the things that cracks me up, is at some point she threatens somebody. And she's like, if we meet again, I'll consider it a death wish. Like, she just, like, straight-faced, dead-eyed, told a grown-ass man, like, the next time I see you, I'm gonna kill you. Even though, like, clearly he's like, what? No. Like... Yes. Like, come on. But it was just, like, just the way that she delivered it, and that was one of the things that I loved about this show, is that the humor sometimes was very subtle, and just, like, it got me. It was adorable. I loved it. But anyway, she, throughout this first day, where she's doing her thing and going to see her mom and doing all this other stuff, you find out she's saving for school, which is, like, millions of won in Korea. And then... So she's getting close. Like, she's working all these odd jobs, and she's got her little bank book out, and she keeps, like... And then she finds out that, like, the family didn't save any money for her to go to college. They only saved it for the other girl, but she was too stupid to get in. And so she's mad. They're all mad at Ha Won now, and all this other kind of stuff. And then so she goes and runs into the 3 boys. Well, I don't think she runs into 2 of the boys. She runs into who we call Tall Boy, so that's Hyunmin, right? And Sad Boy, Ji Woon.
I had to give them names. I had to give them
so that we can remember. Yeah,
because I can't remember their names. But like Hyunmin, Jesus, Tall Boy is he's very rich and he's like a playboy, very moody. And then you have Ji Woon, who is described as the rebel loner. He's also a very mad individual.
He's just angry. He's
angry
very
individual.
angry. And we find out why later.
And I call him Sad Boy.
Yep.
Because that's how I could remember who he was.
Because he was always so sad.
Because he was always so sad. And you had the playboy guy. Very tall, skinny man.
Yeah.
So yeah, those are the names I chose to call them.
But yeah, so the way that she gets introduced to the whole gang is that I can't remember the exact thing. Oh, that's right. She shows her badassery in a scenario, and Tall Boy, Hyunmin, is like, "Oh, this hoe? Yes, I see what she's going," but only because his other rich guy friends, and according to his grandfather, he is a total player. That's the quote. And so if we have to remember, we watch this with subtitles. If something is not a direct translation, that is not our fault.
Not our fault.
But yeah, so his grandfather, when describing him to Ha Won, says he's a total player. Now, he clearly has abandonment issues, and you see all that happening much later on. And that he basically grew up all by himself and just like was being groomed to take over his grandfather's company and all this other kind of shit. And so he is just kind of the worst trope that you could imagine in that kind of way. So he makes a bet with his buddies that he will take her to his grandfather's wedding, to his 5th wife, who also drama. And then
oh my
god, yeah, so that's what he promised her. He finds out that she needs money, and so this is one of the things, like he finds out she needs money and she tells him no, and then she ends up going to visit her mom's earn space, and finds out that her father had stopped paying for it, and that they have her mother's ashes and they will not give them to her until she pays them the money that is overdue. And so this is where she meets Sad Boy.
Yes.
And I think she actually met him one time right before that, but this is where he really sees this girl, something's going on with this girl, and he doesn't really kind of know what's happening, but he also doesn't care because he's having an existential crisis. He can be a super dick.
I was gonna say, it's important to note that they're everyone in the story, minus the lead female role, they're all kind of assholes.
Well, except for
the bodyguard,
the best friend.
Oh, and the best friend.
She's probably my favorite character.
She is
because
pretty great.
She is so she's Ha Won's best friend, Ja Young, and she is just unapologetically herself, and absolutely is in love with Song Boy because he has a band and shit. And so
who we've not introduced
yet, but she, as you move on through the series, she becomes a much more vital character. She also takes no shit from people.
She's fantastic.
And when the stepsister comes and tries to blackmail her or threaten her into giving up the tea on Ha Won, she's like, no, I ain't doing it. She's, I'm telling you, favorite character. I mean, she really is the best one. And so you have Sad Boy doing his thing, you have Tall Boy, and so now she has to tell Tall Boy, yes, I'll pretend to be your fiance as a date to your grandfather's wedding.
All in episode 1, you guys.
All in episode 1. We ain't even got to number 2.
All in episode 1.
So we're just trying to build y'all in because this shit going down. And so this is where she meets the entire family, okay? And we won't really get into all the juicy deets, but this is where she meets the entire family, plus Tall Boy's ex-girlfriend, Hye Ji.
Sad girl.
We dubbed her Sad Girl. Anyway, so that's a whole, right? And so then at some point, Grandpa's like, yo, this girl here, she don't take nobody's shit, and she likes Art of War, and I'm down with that. And she laughs at my dad jokes where nobody else will laugh at his dad jokes. So he's like, hey, I will pay for you to go to school in like faraway lands if you'll do something for me. And what he wants her to do, and I wrote it down in quotes because it is insane, make my grandsons become decent human beings. And so, as we said, we've met Sad Boy, who he calls a total thug. We've met Tall Boy, who's the total player, and Song Boy, who he calls good for nothing, so Siwoo, who's dreamy, head in the clouds. He's just singing songs.
He's my favorite, though.
He's the most adorable one. Like, he's the one that I'm like, oh, the most, especially because of what ends up happening, and, you know, just him having his muse, like Ha Won being his muse for a little bit and stuff. Like, that's adorable, but as a, you know, as a person, like, yeah, no, he's not that great in the beginning. Like, he really is very self-absorbed and all in his thing. But so that's, you know, Grandpa, this is what he thinks about these boys who are the progeny of his sons who are all dead. Mm-hmm. And so he tells her, I want you to go live in the house with them. And I want you to do 3 things. Well, he doesn't tell her what things to do yet. He's like, I'll tell you the next thing I want you to do after you've done the first thing. And if you're successful in the task I give you, I'll give you another one. The only thing you cannot do is no hanky-panky with any of the boys.
No dating.
None of them.
Don't fall in love.
Do it. And so, of course, I mean, we all know where this is going to go.
Happen.
Okay, let's get real. And then, so she goes to live in the house, and the 3 tasks, the first one was they have to eat together.
Yep, they have to have a meal together.
And then the second one, this one got me. This is one of the episodes where I cried, was they had to go to the memorial service that he holds for their fathers every year, and they've never been. And that none of them have a good relationship with their dead fathers. Like, Sad Boy, Ji Woon, he didn't even know his dad.
Yeah.
Like, he thought his dad had, like, run out on him and his mom and was like, you know, I don't want y'all and all this kind of stuff. But you kind of find out that throughout his entire life, Gramps has been a super dick and was always ruining relationships because he's like trying to build this like empire, and he's like, no, you got to marry appropriately, son. You can't just be like banging whoever you be banging and shits. And there's like this really great like, oh man, like the story, like when Sad Boy has to go find out about his dad and his mom and how they tried to continue their relationship after his grandfather basically put his foot down and broke them up at the little tea spot in the woods.
Yeah.
That was so sweet. Like, there's like stuff that happens and you're like, oh, that's cute. But like, you realize like Grandpa is a dick, man. Like, even in his old age, you can see that he's starting to kind of be like, you know. But at the same time, like, you can see like there was a guy who was hardcore. Like, he was not having it.
It was. It's the classic, you know, like, to marry into the family, you have to be of a certain caliber. So
Yeah.
when it comes to Sad Boy's parents, his mother was not the proper caliber.
She worked in the household.
I'm trying to remember. As Katie's talking, I'm having flashbacks to the show. Because it's been a while. But I'm trying to remember the connection with the necklace.
Okay. We'll get there.
Okay. Because I'm like, I cannot quite remember that. But
we'll get there.
Again, this all happens in episode, 1. I don't think she moves into the house until episode 2.
Yeah, episode 2 is where he gets his secretary, Lee Yoon Sung, Mr. Lee.
Was one of our one of the best. And also, and mind you, okay, so obviously, right, as K-dramas are wont to do, all of the people are absolutely fucking gorgeous. Even, you know, Sad Boy, they're all pretty. They're all pretty people, including Mr. Lee, our trusty bodyguard / secretary / manager, everything. Like, yeah, he's great.
But they did him a disservice.
Oh, yes, they did.
Because he was clearly an older, not like older, but he was older than the other young men playing the grandsons. or at least could grow a beard enough that he had a 5 o'clock shadow most of the time, and they would put this makeup hair on him to cover his stubble and stuff. And you, like, it just really did him a disservice.
He looked
because it
jaundiced,
was a terrible color.
He was so...
It made his eyes look really red.
And he was so, like, orange, yellow. Yeah. Just in the mouth, chin area. Like, yeah.
And you could tell the scenes where he didn't have makeup on. Yeah. And it was just like, oh, you just look so much healthier this way.
Yeah.
Like, it was like, oh, that sucks. But he was also one of our favorite characters.
Just let him have his stubble.
Because he has his humor and then his loyalty and honor are very evident from the beginning. Like, he's very loyal to the chairman, or Gramps.
And his whole story, too.
And his whole story is crazy. And so here's one of the things we thought. I mean, because we're like, in the 4 nights, so you clearly have the 3 grandsons, the cousins. Mm-hmm. So those are 3. And we're like, well, who's the 4th one? It has to be Mr. Lee. But if it's Mr. Lee, like, does that? What is going on? But then we're like, but maybe he's like a long lost grandson or something. Like, we had all these crazy theories that he was going to get in on the love triangle action, the love quadrangle action.
Well, and then for a while we were like, maybe she's somehow related.
We were so certain she was going to be related to them, even after they were like
the only one who's
making them have a romantic relationship. We were like, oh my god, yeah, that was our thing. We were like, she's going to be related to the chairman, and we had all these theories, and then the one that was, we were like, what? It was that... Spoiler alert. Gramps' new wife is Mr. Lee's mama. Damn it.
And Mr. Lee doesn't even know. Or
he didn't know.
The grandpa doesn't even know about it.
Yeah, grandpa doesn't know it, and Mr. Lee didn't know until, like, the day before he got married or some shit. Like, wild. And the whole thing is because she abandoned him as a baby because she had to run away from an abusive relationship. I mean, just people
are just orphaned, abandoned. Nobody
everywhere.
Has a good relationship with their parent in this story. Like, it is.
I mean, but let me tell you what. This mama here, okay, so she was doing a bunch of shit, working for orphanages and all kinds of stuff while she didn't have him as a small child. Like, she felt really bad. You know,
she tried to make up for it.
Like, she tried to live a good life after that. And then her plan to do right by him was to then marry the chairman. Misguided. And basically maneuver herself to become the controlling interest in the company so that her son, Mr. Lee, could take over as CEO.
Check that life insurance.
You know, and like straight up like made that move. Yeah, like she made that move. Like she did that shit and it didn't work, thankfully.
And Grandpa found out about it.
Oh, Gramps was...
But guess what? They still end up together.
I mean, you know, they have a chat at the end at a table trying to be like normal people, and it was cute. But it was just one of those things where you were like trying to figure her out for the longest time, and it was like, what is going on here? And when you finally were like, whoa, because we kept thinking maybe her and him had a thing, or like something, and I'm like, no, I think that's his mama. And it turns out it's his mama, and we were just like, whoa, okay. You know, so it was like, it kept getting us. Like, we kept having theories,
and turns.
And we didn't really know what was going on. And then it was kind of like, but maybe here they throw you the red herring, and you'd be like, and in the meantime, you have little Ha Won over here trying to do what she needs to do. And at the same time, Tall Boy, who's just convinced he's God's gift to women, is still pretending like she's his fiance.
Yeah.
And so it's just totally wild. And then, you know, so the next thing they had to do was they had to
go on a trip together.
Yes. So the third thing was go on a trip.
Which is they kidnap him.
They kidnap him because he sleeps so hard they can get him on a plane while he's asleep. It was like there were so many things going on. So it was you had a lot of stuff going on. It was
so much happening.
So much happening. And one of my favorite things about the show was the level of cringe. Because you had people doing like all these different like tactics to either cause trouble or to try and like whenever Ha Won is trying to make the boys sit down for dinner, or whenever she's trying to trick them into going to different places or to doing things for her.
Oh my god.
Or like whenever you know, Tallboy goes and like just empties what he thinks is his heart to her, but is being recorded and broadcast on school television.
Oh my god! And then she's like,
nah.
So good. But that also,
but also drunken shenanigans. Remember the drunk one? While they were on their vacay, they went on the trip.
Oh, yes!
It almost like barfs all over.
Yes! Oh my god, how could I forget that?
And this is when you find out that Tallboy and Sad Girl have a whole history together, because they grew up together. And there was her brother involved. And so that was another thing we were like, well, where's the brother? We never see the brother.
What happened to the brother?
Did him and the brother have some sort of gay relationship and a falling out or something? Like, we're like, what is going on there? We'll come to find out, as small children.
Dead.
Oh my god. They, eventually you get back to, he's basically stayed away from her because he feels like he doesn't deserve her, that he is terrible because as a very small child, like could not have been 10 years old. Him and her brother were playing in the street because it's smart to do, and a car ran over her brother and he ran away.
Just left him in the street
because he was scared, and he was a child, and so he was like, "Oh my god, I'm the worst." And so basically, this whole thing with him being a player and treating her like shit and all this other kind of stuff was all because he was like, I killed your brother or something. Yeah. Like, he's just stupid. And that was another one of the things that I was like, people are real dumb in this show.
Yeah, and that whole thing between them,
oh my god,
it went on too long. Like, and he would go out with
so many shots of them like walking.
Yeah, slow. Like walking. She almost gets hit, which is another common K-drama thing with like these women just like slowly wandering about like in the sad days and almost being hit by vehicles, like, and of course she gets saved by Sad Boy, and then she
thing. Basically uses him because she clearly cannot have Tallboy, but like she wants to be around him, and then she also appreciates that Sad Boy makes himself available to her, but that's because he loved his mama so much, and like he feels like he needs, like he tries to be the boy that would make her proud kind of thing. And and that's one of his whole big things with his grandpa, is that he's like, he doesn't know the role his grandpa played in his dad and his mom not being together, but he assumes that his dad didn't love him because of money, that his grandpa represents money, and his grandpa just basically plucked him out of his life within the last year in his adult life and was like, hey, you were poor, but now you're rich and you can't do anything you used to do. And that's why he's having this existential crisis, because he's just like,
he's supposed to change everything about himself.
Yeah, like even his name and stuff. And so, you understand why this guy's having a hard time, but he can be such a dick.
Yeah. and then you have Songboy, who is like, he's in an actual band.
Yes.
He's in
in real life too.
In real life, yeah.
Outside the show.
In the show and in real life, he's the bassist of the band CN Blue, which check them out. But in the show, he's the only person in the band, isn't he? He's the lead singer in the
it's basically his band and the band members. Yeah, kind of thing.
And so he's kind of also in love with our lead character, Ha Won.
Yeah.
And
for a moment. Because I think it's the first time he actually slows down and can see somebody who's not like upset. Everybody's obsessed with him. He's such a big star. And so he just kind of has the opportunity to be around someone who is a real person and also not a complete psychopath. Like she's like I said, she's like really chill and takes no shit. So she'll like give it as good as she gets kind of thing. And I think that he ends up getting the feels for her, and he writes her a song, and she's totally oblivious.
Yeah.
And it is one of the cutest things I've ever seen.
And Juan's best friend
loves him.
He's like a huge fan. So she's like always there. And I think, in my mind anyways, and I think, they kind of maybe like hint at it, dance around it a little bit in the show, that they...
at the very end,
they're together. Her best friend and Songboy are together.
Or at least, like, friends enough.
Flirting.
That, like, yeah, they're just having fun. Because she gets him out of a couple of scrapes. That...
Because the stepsister is also into him.
Oh, yes. You know, she just wants anybody who's going to put her at that elite status kind of thing. And, yeah, so you end up with shenanigans ensuing several times because the evil stepsister has encouraged something or made some situation, unwieldy for our main character. And so, like, the best friend and Songboy usually are the people who kind of get her out of those situations, oddly enough. But so, yeah, him and her develop a rapport that by the very end you can kind of see maybe there's, like, a relationship blossoming there.
And isn't one of the things that, like, she has to overcome, there are, like, rumors about why she's in the house. Like, she's...
Oh, yeah. She's
like
just basically a gold digger, and she's, like, banging them all. And, of course, you know, South Korea, they're not taking...
She's in a relationship with, like, 4 dudes.
Even though I'm all about, you know, a reverse harem, South Korea is not. They are not having that.
She's
so,
not
yeah,
into
like,
it.
people are just, like, really bad, you know, talking shit about her. All the kids at school are being real shitty if the stepsister, you know, kind of pushes them into that. And so, yeah, let's discuss real quick the house, because this was one of the first things I wrote down. And then when I saw episode 2 where they're offering her, where Grandpa and Mr. Lee or Secretary Lee are offering her the position of, you know, human being generator, I guess.
How to human.
How to judge a human. They say this phrase because they're talking about this house. It's this big fancy house. It's this architectural
monsters house.
You know, and they say it's incredibly secure. No outsiders can enter.
Fucking lies. Straight up lies.
Just people walk up or drive up all the fucking time. We went on and on about this throughout the entire series, where it was just like people would show up to the house and cause trouble, and you're like, how did they get there?
Yeah, because it's like, it seems like it's out in the middle of, like, fucking nowhere.
Or at least there's a big gate at the road or something. Like,
and then, like, one of the people that just randomly shows up is a guy who's
pretending to be her dad.
Because that's a whole
Because
thing.
the stepmom found out that her real dad, and this is one of the things that happens in, like, episode 2, or episode 1 or 2, is that, 2, her dad tells her, you're not even my daughter, your mother cheated on me. And the reason why he thinks that is because her mother died in a fire. Their apartment complex caught on fire, and her mother died, and people said she had been coming out of the apartment of a guy who lived next door to them, but also ran the dojo that they did their thing at. And she had a necklace.
Yes.
A ring in her hand. And everybody said, oh, that's whatever. And so Ha Won wears that as a necklace.
Yeah.
Okay. Come to find out, though, and this is where it all circles back to Destiny and beautiful little, like, mwah moment, is that the ring actually belonged to Sad Boy, Ji Woon's mother.
Yes.
That his father gave to her, because it's a very particular design. You see it later on in the series whenever Grandpa actually takes the ring back from Mr. Lee's mother, his wife. Mm-hmm. It's the same design. The Ji Woon's dad wanted to marry his mom and gave her the ring. And then Grandpa split them up, and so she kept it. And so Ha Won's mother ran into her apartment to save her, and when she could not save her, she said, give this ring to my son and tell him I'll always love him.
Yeah.
And you find out in the end, because they both die, so nobody really knows what the ring is about until all of this kind of wraps up later. You find out that they actually met at their mother's funerals.
Yeah, when they were tiny.
When they were little.
Yeah.
And it was so cute. Like, it was the cutest little thing. It was like, oh my god.
Sad Boy and our
meant to be together. Well, and that's what's so funny is that their initial interaction was not bad. It was kind of positive, and then it just spirals out of control, and then you have all these other things happening, and he's already pissed off.
Well, and he's mad because he's like against money and all that, and he thinks she's only doing things for
the money. Yeah.
Yeah, so it's like a whole thing.
And then you come to find out that their mom's urn cubbies were one on top of the other. So they had been going and visiting their moms basically like right on top of each other their whole lives. And they were these kids who had met and didn't realize. And then in the end, they end up together. And Grandpa finds out. And that's the big no-no. You can't be...
Under your station.
Oh, you can't be doing it. And so, some other stuff goes down. Grandpa needs an organ transplant. Of course, the only person who is viable is the person who hates him the most.
Sad boy.
And...
I totally thought that our lead character, Ha Won, Jesus Christ. I thought she was going to be a match. This is where I thought we were going to find out that she was related to them somehow.
Which was going to be awkward.
Yeah, because she's like kissed.
Because they've already mooched
like,
a couple times.
Yeah, so I was like, this is where we're going to find out that they're all fucking related.
I'm telling you, they kept us on tenterhooks the whole time. We were like, what is going down?
But I wanted to circle back to kind of like the destiny thing.
Yeah.
Because wasn't there, he had given her a bouquet of flowers at their family's funerals or like vice versa or something?
So
she had it?
She gave him a flower, I think.
And he like
or it was a barrette or something like that.
Yeah.
It was something that so she gave him something and he gave her his white armband.
That's the white armband, yeah.
And so that was the two things. And so at the very end, when they find out that they are those children, they exchange those gifts back. Like they show each other. They're like, here's the things. Oh my god. But yeah, so shenanigans also ensue with Grandpa's liver transplant. You think he's gonna die. You think everybody's gonna die, and then Ha Won runs away because Grandpa basically threatened her.
Oh yeah, because Sad Boy his recovery is not very smooth.
Yeah, he was like in a coma. Yeah, and then he wakes up and she's not there.
And she was taking care of him the entire time. And yeah, Grandpa was like, "Get the fuck out of here
because you are lower than us." So even to this point, when all things that she has done are culminating in him getting a new liver, for God's sakes. You know, like, he's still being a dick about it. And like, Grandpa, which is why him actually sitting down with Secretary Lee's mom at the very end and trying to be a normal person is kind of nice, because you're like, okay, Grandpa's kind of swallowing his pride, because she did him dirty. Like, she straight did him dirty.
Real fucking dirty. Also, it's his fifth wife. He should fucking know by now.
Right?
He should know better.
Gold digger. But, like, she wasn't gold digging for her. She was gold digging for Mr. Lee. And that was one of those things where it's like, yeah, you did wrong, but I can see, like, okay, I got it. I see what you're doing over there.
I did love it, though. There was a scene where Grandpa and his fifth wife were shopping, and she bought a tie.
Mm-hmm. And he thought it was for him.
And she gives it to Mr. Lee, and Mr. Lee is wearing it, and Grandpa sees it, and he's like, they're fucking.
Yeah.
My wife is cheating on me with my secretary.
And then finally he's like, no, that's my son, you know, whatever.
But I was also like, bitch, you know he's gonna see that tie.
Eventually, yeah.
Like, you know that's gonna happen. What were you thinking?
Well, the thing, no, she did not, she didn't know that he saw her buy the tie. So he was like creeping,
that's right.
and she was explaining to the salesman.
That's right.
Young and like, yeah, you know, whatever. Anyway, but yeah, so like, she didn't know that. She didn't know that. But
that's right.
But yeah, so the other two things that I wrote down to talk about were the tracksuit.
Goddamn tracksuits.
This girl couldn't stay out of a tracksuit.
So many tracksuits.
They were comfy, man. I guess.
But I'm also curious, like, are tracksuits like super like the way to dress in Korea? Like, is it very like a popular?
I think for her it was just probably more along the lines of it's a what's the word I'm looking for? It's an adaptable garment to all the shit she has to do in a day, because you know she had like 10 part-time jobs.
True.
Plus also, she got kicked out of her house with like no clothes.
This wasn't intended, but tracksuits also play into my recommendation this week. So
fun times,
fun connection there.
There we go. Hey.
But yeah, so many fucking tracksuits.
Yeah.
And there's a shopping montage, as there must always be.
Oh, yes, because Tall Boy's like, girl, you need to look better.
And he buys her, someone ends up buying her, like, a nicer tracksuit.
Yeah, just a nicer one.
But, yeah, God, tracksuits galore. It's insane.
Too funny.
Insane.
Too funny. Oh, and then the other thing I had written down was that this, I think, made me have that dream that I told you about. Where I go into this, like, weird alternate dimension or parallel universe or something. Like, there's some sort of travel going on. And I wake up to find myself in this land where there are these princes. And somehow they think that I am going to marry one of them. Like, it's a competition to win my hand or something. And it's BTS, basically, is who the princes are. And I'm like...
K-pop princes.
I'm like, no, but I want to help you be a better human. I can teach you how to find the love of your life. And I was like, I just want to be your Nuna kind of thing. It was so hilarious. And when I woke up the next day and told you about it, I was like,
you were like the den mother for a K-pop band.
It was so funny. But I would have to, like, take them on dates and stuff. I'm like, this is how you go on a date and do these things. Like, it was so funny. And, yeah, so I feel like that came from this show. I feel like that dream had to have come from this show because it was right around the same time. I just don't think I put it together. Oh, dear. Someone did not like you
too much touching. Her. We have both of the pups in here with us today.
Yes, 2 podcast pups.
One is snoring and one is growling.
But, yeah, so overall, I really enjoyed the show. I thought it was... great.
I
kept me involved the whole time. The only thing... Oh, Jessie, speaking of Nunas, Jessie did a song called My Romeo for the show, and it's banging. Like, it's on my playlist all the time. Like, I bop to that.
Yeah,
all the time.
B2B did a couple of songs.
So I think they actually did the song that he, the guy wrote in the show. Ballads. Well, he wrote the song in the show about her. And I think, nobody's touching you, sis. Calm down. You're so grumpy.
Goodness gracious.
I think, I'm trying to remember, because you can't, it's hard to find the actual version that he did in the show. Mm-hmm. But I think they use the song and do the song on the soundtrack. I think B2B does it.
Yeah.
I could be wrong. But I think that's what happened with it. But yeah, it's not as good.
It's got some good tunes though. Overall.
They're all right. Overall. I just threw that Jessie on there. That's all I kept out of that.
I think I teared up in a few episodes.
Oh man, the cry factor, it got me a couple times.
Dead parents are always they always get me.
In episode 2, when her dad tells her you're not even my daughter and kicks her out of the house, and all she has is her backpack, her clothes on her back, and her mother's box of ashes. Yeah. And she's standing in the rain on their front stoop, having a memory of her and her parents when she's very small coming back from the dojo or whatever martial arts practice they were at, and laughing and everything. And then she's like walking down the street and she's just like, ugh. Like, that broke me for a hot minute. I was like, holy shit. And anytime she's in the place where her mom's ashes are stored later, like, just trying to tell her mom, like, I'm trying to be the daughter you would be proud of, but, like, she's basically like, these people are fucking crazy.
Yeah, what am I supposed to do?
And she's like sobbing. You're like, oh my god. But that would get me pretty hardcore. And then the one with the dads, because they did all, they showed up.
Yeah, they all went to the...
We're learning things about their dads and stuff.
Yeah.
You also got to meet their moms that time too, and that was hilarious. Because their moms have been going to the memorial services, but they have not. So you get to meet all their moms and stuff, and that's... Well, except for Ji Woon's, because his mom's dead.
Yeah, I was going to say, Tall Boy's mom was a trip.
Oh, she's beastly, man.
Yeah. But it's like a super cute show. Like, again, definitely not one I would have picked for myself. Mm-hmm. But once I got into it, I was into it. And I feel like we watched this one pretty fast as well. Mm-hmm. Sometimes it takes us a while. Like, we're still working through Do Bong Soon.
That's because we got held up, and then we just haven't
got back into it.
I'm totally gonna do a full rewatch though.
Just
That's
too many
so
episodes.
funny. It has so much like physical comedy.
It is. It's another amazing one, which we'll be talking about later on the podcast. But something I wanted to highlight, because we were talking about where it was, where they had to live in the mansion, and I remembered seeing something about the location. So the Sky House is what it's called, and it's actually the clubhouse of a luxury golf resort in South Cape. Resort South Cape Owners Club on the southern coast of Cheongsun Island in South Korea. So if that gives you any kind of idea of the setting, it's like nothing else is around, and it's just huge fucking house with everything's glass. There's a pool, there's a lake, there's a river.
The way their bedrooms are set up is ridiculous.
Yeah, glass, no walls, just glass. Oh, and there was a shower mishap, wasn't there?
There's a couple shower mishaps, but yes.
Yeah. And there's always a standoff with the pool.
Well, yeah, because he's trying to, like, seduce her to be a dick about it, because he's like, oh, no, you're gonna fail. Like, you're leaving soon. I'm gonna make sure you fail. And so he, like, tries to, like, put the moves on her, but, like, really aggressively, and she's just like, ha, what? And that's when she realizes, like, she might actually like him.
Yeah.
He at least turns her on a little bit. That's when she figures that out.
It's just so cute. It's a really cute show. I really liked it. Did you have a quick review for this one?
I do.
Would you please share it with class?
Okay. Your girl goes through it. Really thought she'd end up their cousin. Laugh out loud. Kick-ass Jessie Bop. Happily ever after. 4 stars.
Nice. That pretty much perfectly sums it up.
I mean, hey, there it is.
Yeah,
we had a good time watching
would
that
definitely recommend. Yeah, if you want like a feel good, cutesy. Well, I say feel good, but there are some dark moments. No, it's very
sad.
But
no, there's a lot of sadness going on in there.
Yeah,
like, there are people, and you're like, why are you like this? And you find out why people are the way they are.
Yeah, but it has a happy ending.
It does have,
which not all K-dramas do.
Yes, and I'm down for that. I like it.
Yeah, it was really good. It was I was happy I stumbled into the living room at that moment. And watched it.
Yeah, because I feel like if you'd have come in like episode 3, you'd be like, I'm not watching
I've been
this.
fucking
It's
lost.
too much.
I've been lost. So much happens in one episode.
It was fun. We enjoyed ourselves. We watched it. I mean, that was 18 episodes, right? 16. I mean, that's a lot of television.
Yeah.
And it didn't feel... I mean, getting there toward the end when you had homegirl, sad girl, slow walking.
God damn her.
And being the worst.
Really anything with her. I was
just
like,
being really like, I'm gonna take your man's, and poor Ha Won's just like, I just want to go to college.
And I guess we hate it. I disliked her so much, so I guess they did a really great job in like doing that with the character, because I was just like,
and she had her own troubles, and at the same time, she just wanted Tall Boy to pull his head out of his ass, and we all did. We really did. And so then at the end, when they're together, you're like, okay. Sure, but we had to all sit through that.
Yeah.
Like we
I wasn't rooting
you.
for either of you.
No, we don't care about
like,
you two.
You're both trash.
We care about best friend. We care about Mr. Lee.
Mr. Lee!
We care about Song Boy.
Oh, Mr. Lee's the only one who kind of doesn't end up with someone.
Yeah, at the park, he's just like hanging out.
He's like the seventh wheel.
Yeah, pretty much.
Poor Mr. Lee.
Yeah, and that was one of the things I really thought he was going to get more action than he got. And
Me
he
too,
didn't.
Yeah.
But I loved him. I think his character was just supposed to be that kind of
supporting
support character, and
could have been could have been a second main character. Well,
I mean, he won, but that's the thing.
There were so many like sub mains, I guess. When it came to the male characters,
I loved him.
He was so good.
He did it. He did the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, River doesn't care.
Yeah, she's out. She's like, yeah, whatever. And Cranky over here.
Cranky Pants McGee over there.
If you're like me and you're just getting started with podcasting, it can be scary and overwhelming. That's why Anchor is such a great choice. It's one of the easiest ways to make a podcast, and best of all, it's free. It also has great creation tools that allow you to record and edit your podcast right from your phone or your computer. Another great feature of Anchor is that they'll distribute your podcast for you. Your listeners will be able to access your podcast on Spotify, Apple Podcast, and many others. You can also make money from your podcast using Anchor, and that's with no minimum minimum listenership. It's everything you need to make a podcast in one place, and it's easy to use. Download the free Anchor app or go to anchor.fm to get started today. But again, highly recommend. It's still on Netflix.
Oh, yes.
If you've not started dabbling in the world of Vicky and you want to watch more like Asian dramas, get on Vicky. All right?
Oh, yeah.
There's a free pass, or you can pay.
You can pay for no commercials.
I will say paying is worth it.
Yeah. Yeah, especially if you watch it quite a bit. It's like $10. Well, the tier I've got, I think, is $10 a month, and that means no commercials and a lot of the premium movies and stuff.
And listen, when a show is already an hour and some odd minutes long, and then you add commercials into that, it's fucking worth it. Oh, it's worth it.
Especially when it's like election season, and you have to see the same election commercial 27,000 times.
And also, to continue with this ongoing bit, we have Vicky. If you want to sponsor us.
Hey, we watch a lot of shows on their shit. Okay.
Let's do a watch party. Hit us up.
Yeah, we'll do a watch party. That'd be fun. Maybe a Kingdom watch party.
Oh, shit! Yes! It'll be over by the time it's gone.
Right.
We can do a rewatch party.
I'm sure there will be something else on.
Oh, Kingdom.
It never stops.
Speaking of Kingdom, what are your what you streaming right now? You got any recommendations?
Oh, Brutality. I can't believe you just did that to me.
Bam!
So, what I'm streaming right now, because May the 4th happened recently, and of course, Star Wars Day and whatnot, I am actively going through all the Star Wars things. I was doing my Avengers run, but, Star Wars come in between that. So, I had not gotten to finish the last season of Clone Wars, the animated series. I really enjoy that series, and I wanted to make sure that I did that. So, I had made it through episode 1, 2, and 3, Solo, Rogue One, and I had watched some of the Clone Wars, and I was like, well, I'll come back and finish it. And then I was just like, no. So, like, literally this week, I finished the last 4 episodes, which, Brutality, beautiful. Goddamn Dave Filoni, man. He knows how to do it. So, that's what I have been streaming. I did that. I will continue on through my journey. I think I've made it all the way through. Yeah, I need to get back and watch Return of the Jedi. That's the next movie I'm on, and then continue on.
You've been knocking them out.
Trying to, but you know how it goes. Some days I feel bad that you guys have to hear Star Wars many hours in a day. So, so I got to get back into that and finish those out because that's what my heart wants and that's what it's gonna get. So yeah, that's what I've been streaming. I think though, like we said, I will be rewatching Strong Woman Do Bong soon because I also need to finish. I think the last 2 episodes or something.
I think we only have 2 to 3 left.
And that show was so freaking great.
It is good.
That I will rewatch the whole thing just to watch those 2 episodes.
I will maybe sit in on some of the rewatch.
Oh, and the Bad Batch. The Bad Batch, Clone Wars. It's more Star Wars animated stuff. And it's just a show about the Clone Troop 99. They were kind of like the, what did they call them? They were defective in a way that the other clones weren't, but that just really meant they were more badass.
Nice.
So they show up in the animated series for an episode or 2, but they also have their own show now.
Is that right? Or something? Or
I mean, their armor and stuff was different, but that's because they were individuals. Basically, I
don't know anything about. I know the original Star Wars stuff and a little bit of the new stuff, but nope. When it gets into the animated thing, I'm lost.
I almost thought about watching all of the stuff I haven't seen in forever, or at all, that's on Disney Plus, that's Star Wars things, Star Wars related, and they have like the indoor, adventure and all that kind of stuff. So I thought about maybe doing that, and then I was like, no, I'm torturing them enough as it is.
It's so much. There's so much
There
content.
is so much of it. And me, I like all the behind the scenes shit.
Yeah.
So, I basically Although I didn't watch Rogue One in this run, but that's because I had watched it literally within the 14 days prior to the week of May the 4th.
Yeah, because I was like,
because I watch it all the time. I mean, that's the one I watch like all the time. So, yeah, I was like, yeah, I can live without watching that one in this like stream of consciousness that I've got going on. So, yeah, Star Wars all day, every day, baby. That's what I've been doing.
Nice. Very nice.
What you got?
We as a unit, you, me, and your hubby, the hubster,
Weeble,
and the dogs, watched Mortal Kombat.
Oh, we did. That was just yesterday.
And that was...
I forgot about that.
That was a treat.
It was something.
It was... Yeah.
It was everything they intended it to be.
Fucking Greg Russo, giving us everything we never knew we wanted or needed. But yeah, watched that. It was a movie. It was a film. I did. Oh shit! I did love the fucking techno, like Skrillex remix of the Mortal Kombat theme song. That got me pumped at the end. But yeah, so watched that.
It was intense.
I would say watch it. I mean,
yeah, sure.
I would wait until
if Mortal Kombat's your thing.
I would wait until you can stream it elsewhere.
Anywhere.
Like, I wouldn't get HBO Go for it.
No.
And then Demon Slayer on Netflix. It's an animated show. I've been watching that. It's really good. It's got evil spirits and swords and magics and such, and I love it. That's my jam. And then tracksuits. When it comes to tracksuits, I would highly recommend watching The Uncanny Counter, or The Uncanny Counters. It is also on Netflix and is a Korean show and also has evil spirits in it and Grim Reapers. And I sob like a little bitch when I watch that show. The male lead in that is so good.
10 out of 10 tears.
Oh, fuck. Buckets of tears.
Oh, that's right. We're doing buckets.
Buckets. 10 full buckets of tears for several episodes throughout that series. And it is one where I will go back and watch certain episodes over and over again because they're just so good. So highly recommend, if you have not already watched The Uncanny Counters, fucking watch it. It's so good. There are a lot of episodes. I think it has maybe 18 to 20. But yeah, it's delicious. It's an amazing show. Yeah. So, those are my recommendations on what I'm streaming.
Oh, I got a recommendation.
Yeah.
We went and saw Wrath of Man at the movie theater. Shout out to the Alamo Draft House, Raleigh. Fucking love that place. I'll give you my money anytime. But yeah, it was, it's a Guy Ritchie film, and it's got Jason Statham doing a Jason Statham thing, and it's exactly what you expect it to be, and
it's the wrath of Jason Statham.
It really and truly is.
You can't go wrong with the Jason Statham movie.
There wasn't really anything that was like surprising. But there was some good, just straight up like annihilating people, and hey, sometimes you need that.
On a scale of 1 to Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh my god. No, there was because Hobbs and Shaw, like we talked about the other day, Hobbs and Shaw is intentionally I'm taking myself a little too seriously action comedy, and I know it. Like, it knows it. What small comedy, like, what kind of, like, low-key funny things there were. It wasn't, I don't think, trying to be funny. It was just trying to show you the relationship of these people. And it was, like, it follows armored truck drivers. So it was the relationship of these bros, basically, that, are in life-threatening situations and then go back to the locker room at the end of the day and clock out and are all like, yeah, we made it, all right, cool, and then they go and have a beer and play pool and they fuck with each other. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It's like that.
It's a buddy cop.
Well, it was,
but serious.
There was that aspect to it, but that really wasn't the story. That's not the story. And it is very serious, and Jason Statham, kills a bunch of people. So,
nice.
Always a good time.
So, more, what was it? Transporter Jason Statham.
Yes.
Statham.
Yes.
Is there any shirtless ice skating over oil. Because I'm always in it for that.
You're always in it for the shirtless Jason Statham? Let me... I don't...
Covered in oil.
Yeah, there is one scene where he is shirtless, and in bed, presumably unboxed or unfettered, we could say. But there's blankets, so...
I'll take it.
I don't know how much... I can't remember how much of that I actually saw. Yeah.
Love it.
Jason Statham. Jason. And anytime him and Guy Ritchie do a film, it's always it's good to watch.
Yeah, this is brilliant.
There's a lot of fast talking and a lot of killing people.
That's all you need.
That's all you need.
That's all you need. Wonderful. Another movie down, another show series down. If you want to share your thoughts about Cinderella and the Four Knights, if you have watched it, or any of the things that we recommend, you can definitely do that. You can call us and leave us a voice message at 252-419-6004, or you can send us a text message to that number. And again, that's 252-419-6004. We definitely want to hear from you guys, especially, again, if you've seen the things that we're talking about.
Or have anything cool you want us to see and talk about.
Give us your recommendations.
We'd love to hear them.
Yes, and be sure to leave us a review. 5 stars only.
None of those lower stars. We don't play any of those games.
Yeah. Audio is terrible. 5 stars only. That's 5 stars. That's how we work here.
I really hate them. 5 stars.
Could have been better. 5 stars. And with that, go stream some shit.
Go put it in your brain hole. Love you. Bye.
Goodbye. Also, if you are enjoying the podcast, hop on over to Apple, iTunes, and leave us a review. Maybe smash that star button. Give us 5 stars only. No. Leave us a review, like, subscribe, comment, share with your friends. All of that fun social media stuff. We really appreciate it, and we hope that you are watching something good this week. Get out there and get to streaming, folks. Bye. Okay. We are recording.
Doing a thing. Recording a snooze.
Bum bum dum dum. What you streaming?
What you streaming? Tell us.